Today, April the 21st, 2026, sees the introduction of the new Nik Collection 9 suite. And this comprises of 8 separate plugins which are compatible with Photoshop, Lightroom Classic, Affinity Photo, DxO Photolab, and also as a standalone application. The 8 plugins comprises of Nik Analog Effects, and this is for creating vintage style photographs. The next one is Nik Color Effects, and this is for applying various color effects to your images. Nik Silver Effects is for converting those color photographs into superb black and white images. Nik Velvetia is for color correcting your images. Nik Define reduces the amount of noise into an image. Nik HDR Effects increases the dynamic range of your photographs. Nik Pre-Sharpener will sharpen those raw images which have maybe had an anti-aliasing filter applied to them. And Nik Sharpener Output enables you to fine-tune your sharpening in localized areas. So let's have a look at some of the new features now in the Nik Collection 9. So let's start by looking at some of the new filter effects. And for this one, we're going to launch Nik Color Collection. Click on the button, and now we can select any one of the plugins here. And I'm going to actually use Nik Color Effects. But before we do that, let's look at the export settings here. Now, what's going to happen? It's going to duplicate the file, and so your original raw file is not going to be affected at all. It'll be the duplicate file that is affected. Now you can export it as a JPEG or as a TIFF. My advice is to export as JPEG. You will have done any corrections to your image prior to going into your plugins. So export as a JPEG, all the effects will be applied to a second file, and that be your JPEG file there. So let's click OK. And we're going to go into color effects. And this has launched the effects here. So I'm going to select one of the new filters here, and that's called halation. And there we go. Click on that one there. Now halation actually will intensify lights on the cars, as you can see here now. And we can change the color of that halation to anywhere we like by clicking on the hue slider here. We can also increase the intensity of that. This is unrealistic here now, so let's take the colorization out, and we've got white lights here. So we can increase the spread of those lights and intensity as well. Now also, I can actually change coloring of various elements in there. So like these Christmas lights here. So what I'm going to do is create another halation filter. Click on the plus sign. This has created another one here. And we can use the new add local adjustment features. So let's click on that. And we're just going to select an area and just highlight one particular area there. So now this is the area that's going to be affected here. So we can affect the colorization of that area there. And there we have a combined mask. Now I will go into these local adjustments in a little bit more detail in further ones there. So once we've done this, we can apply there. And now we have the original image, and then we have the modified image. And here's another example of how we can use the halation filter. First image there is a raw file, and now we've applied the halation to both the lamps, and we've also included a vignette mask around the edges. So now let's take a look at another new filter, and this one can be found in the analog section. So we go to Nik Collection and we'll choose the analog effects plugin, and the filter I'm looking for is called glass filter, and there we have it. And the glass filter will apply a filter to simulate looking through glass, and we can have all sorts of different effects on there. Just click any one of the glass filters and you'll see all the effects being applied. And we can also increase the strength of that particular filter by moving the sliders up and down, and smoothness, we can smooth it out or roughen it up, do all sorts of things. But also, if we hover over the image, we have a box here that we can actually just drag and apply the effects accordingly. And this actually just moves the zoom slider up and down, and we can increase the strength and all the rest. At the moment, we've got the basic set here. We've also got an analog set here, so we can choose any one of these filters here and apply it to the image. And again, very similar, just move up and down. Now, these are just fun effects, really. You'll have to find an image that really works with the glass filters, but I think they're great fun. Staying with the analog effect plugin, we've got another filter, new filter called the chromatic shift. Now click on that, that's found here on the left hand side. And now this actually simulates a really bad lens where you've got chromatic aberrations here, and we can adjust these by just moving the center slider around here, or we can actually use the offset sliders on the right hand side and just move it around. I find it a little bit more accurate to move the little bit around here. Now, if we don't like the coloring there, we can actually, we've got green on the left, red on the right, so we can actually swap them around by clicking on there, and there we just changing the permutations around a little bit. We can also change the coloring. If we don't particularly like that, we've got red and cyan at the moment. We can go to green and magenta, or blue and yellow. Again, this is a rather specialist use on there, but it can be great fun as well. Now, one of the most exciting new features in the Nik Collection 9 plugins is the ability to create masks, various types of masks, including AI masks. So let's have a look at that. And I'm in color effects here, and I'm going to choose the global adjustments, primarily because I have quite a lot of options available here. Now, we can add a local adjustment, and let's look at a brand new one here called a depth mask. So click on that, and then I'm just going to click that area at the background there. At the bottom right hand corner, you see a little circular bit here that's telling me the AI is working on the image. It's looking for various parts for my selection. And there we have it now. If you see the people in the foreground or in front of that highlighted masked area, they're not selected. It's only the background that's been selected. So it's selectively choosing people, choosing areas. And now I can make adjustments to that area. Here we can increase the shadow areas, just brighten it up a little bit. We can add a bit more warmth to that area, or cool it down a bit even. So just add a little bit of warmth to there. We can have a lot of, or we can add a colouring to it as well if we want. So a little bit unnatural, but just showing you the effect of it all here. And the hue, we can change the hue there as well. Make all sorts of weird places. Could be quite useful using the hue thing if you want to create various lighting effects in an image as well. So you could do different hues there, and you can increase the brightness or darkness of it all. Saves you buying all those lights to set up in a room setting. There we are. That's there. But now I also wanted to highlight the ground here. I want to bring out a little bit more texture in there. So the best way to do this is to create yet another filter set in here. So we click on the plus sign here, and that's going to add another global adjustments on there. And now I'm going to go into local adjustments, and I'm going to select object selection. And if I hover over there, I can select either the ground, or I can select one of the walls. I can, anywhere I hover my mouse or pointer over, I can even select the background again if I wanted to there, but I want to select the ground. So click on that, and that's selected now, and I'm going to alter the structure of this because I feel we could bring out a little bit more detail in the wood there. A little bit exaggerated, I know, but it gives you the general idea. And if I want to add now an effect to this wall here, I could try to add another mask there, but that other mask will take on all the permutations or all the effects that I've created for this mask and apply it to there. So I don't really want that. So the best way is to create yet another global adjustments. And there we have it. And this time on my local adjustments, I'm going to select an area. So let's select this area here. And again, it's only selected that area, hasn't selected the people. I can also add to this selection, just add another bit to that one there. So now I can change the colouring on there. So given the Rijksmuseum a new facelift on there. And there we have it. We can see that we can use all these masks features in various areas, and we can turn off if we don't want that particular one there. We can turn that one off and turn this one on, turn that one on, and we can mess around with it. The masking feature is very powerful, and I will go into this in greater depth in a future tutorial. But for this feature alone, it's well worth upgrading to the Nik Collection 9 just for the masking feature alone. Now the last new tool I want to look at is also found in the Color Effects plugin, and that's called Color Grading. By default, you have all these settings here, which I don't particularly want. So let's go and reset that back to 0 again. Bluebells are notoriously difficult to photograph to get the right shade of blue. So let's select, we've got all these different settings. We can go to a global adjustment where we can just adjust the entire image to whatever color we want, which I don't particularly want. So reset that again. Or we can select the shadow areas, and now we can move the slider to the shadow areas, and we can see the bluebells are coming out quite nice and blue. Then you've got the mid-tone selections. We can turn the greens into the mid-tones there, and we've got the highlight selections as well. So we can move the highlight selections around there, and we can adjust our colors accordingly. We can also use these sliders here by just hovering over here, say saturation, and we can see that the highlight saturation, the one that's currently selected, will be the one that's affected. So again, saturation now in the mid-tones, and we'll select the shadow areas. Give it a little bit more blue. There we go, nice and saturated. Or we can use the normal sliders by clicking on this button here, and now we can adjust the hue and saturations, etc. It's a really useful filter to have on here, so, or useful tool, should I say. I can see plenty of uses for this. The last new feature in the Nik Collection 9 is the blending modes, and with this one I've now opened up in the Color Effects plugin, and I'm going to convert it to black and white. If we go to the right hand side here, we can select the blending modes, and at the moment it's set to normal. We can select darken, and you see how the colors have been introduced back in again. And if I go to lighten now, and now I can alter the brightness of that, and we've almost got a pastel effect there with the color image just showing through. Now the blending modes, they're worth experimenting with. There's various options on here. Not all of them are successful, but with your particular image, you'll find the right setting to use. And on this particular one, the lighten one works quite nicely, and we can adjust the shadows and highlights as well, and just bring out various elements of the image. Now, all the plugins have the add local adjustments feature in there, so you can use all these local adjustments on any image, but I will go into this into more detail in a future tutorial. Finally, the new Nik Collection 9 should be available right now at a price of £149.99 for a full new edition, or if you're an existing user and have version 7 or 8, you can buy an upgrade for £79.99 and use the code Vincent15 for a 15% discount. And I do stand to make a small commission on this sale, or every sale on that, but that's only applicable for new users only, not for upgrades.